Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we are going to show you how to replace the fuses and the battery on the Fluke 88.5. So let's get started. All right, fuse and battery replacement on the Fluke 88.5. First thing we're going to do is make sure we remove our meter leads. We'll get those out of the way, and then we're going to pull this cover off. I always like to start at the top here, pull the cover off, and slide that out of there. All right, then flip it over to the back side. First thing we're going to do is remove the battery cover. You have these two plastic fasteners. All right, we're going to just loosen those counterclockwise here, about a quarter turn. And then we're going to pull this cover straight up, get that out of the way, and you can see there's the battery. So battery replacement is actually pretty easy on this. But we're going to go ahead and pop the battery out. And then when we pull the battery cover off, you can see it has exposed these two screws. So we're going to pull these two screws out here real quick. And then you also have a screw up here in the middle. And we'll pull that one out as well. All right, and then we're going to split the case on this meter to get to the fuses. Now the instructions tell you to push on the jacks here. So this meter is actually going to separate here in the middle. So I'm going to push on the jacks and kind of separate this a little bit. And you can see as you push on the jack, one of the corners starts to open up. And then you just kind of work your way around, being kind of gentle, kind of nice. And then work your way from the bottom to the top, because on the top we have a couple of ears that are going to snap into the lower cover. So again, just be kind of gentle. It will eventually pop loose, and you can see we have these two little ears that are going to lock the top in. So we're going to get that out of the way, and that's going to expose the two fuses. So we have the 10 amp fuse, which is really close here to the 10 amp meter jack, and then we also have the 0.4 or 400 milliamp fuse. Again, that's real close to the milliamp jack. So again, if you get confused, you pull both of these out and you're like, oh no, which fuse goes where? Again, you can see the placement is really close to those positions. So I'm just going to take a little pocket screwdriver, pop these fuses out. All right, and there you have it. As far as the fuse replacement, the 10 amp fuse is actually an 11 amp fuse, and it's rated at 1,000 volts. The 400 milliamp or 0.4 amp fuse is actually rated at 0.44 amps and also 1,000 volts. As far as purchasing these, honestly, the easiest place to get these would be Amazon. If you just search it based off of the meter, or if you want to search it specifically for the fuses, you can buy the pair for like 13 or 14 bucks. So again, if I mix the fuses up and I'm like, oh no, where do these go? Again, I can just look at the fuse rating. So this one is the 0.44, this one is the 11 amp. So the 11 amp fuse goes in the 10 amp position right here. Again, really close to the 10 amp jack. And then this is the 0.44, which is the 0.4 amp fuse that goes here next to the smaller amperage position. All right, and then these are your buttons, so just make sure that the little pads are all back where they go. Also watch where the battery wire is, make sure that doesn't get pinched anywhere. And you're going to start at the top and kind of slowly put that top part in, and then just kind of work your way down and putting it back together. Again, being mindful of where the battery strap or battery wire is, and you can hear it kind of pop back together. All right, and then we'll throw our screws back in. Now keep in mind these screws are just going into plastic. So they do get kind of tight and then they get snug, and then all of a sudden you can really tell the screw stops. Okay, so that's bottomed out. So don't get too excited cranking these screws down, because you will definitely break something. Again, they're just going into plastic. All right. And then we'll pop our battery back in. And then the battery cover goes straight down. All right, make sure it's getting flat. And then we're going to crank our plastic fasteners clockwise about a quarter turn. And we're all good to go on the meter. And then we'll slide that back here in the cover. Bottom in first, pop the top in, and we can turn it on and see we're good to go. All right, there you have it. Battery replacement and fuse replacement on the Fluke 88.5.